Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are back here for our Thursday night series on Project Cars 2. As you may have guessed, it is the Touring Car Championship. We're here for round 5 of the season, obviously races 9 and 10. And we are well and truly at the business end of this season, as we've got literally 4 races left to go. And the championship for this Touring Car Championship is pretty much nip and tuck at this point. It's very, very tight at the top of the leaderboard. So, do you know what? I don't know what's going on. Why isn't it coming up? There it is. So, Jay there is leading the championship. WSRC Jay, the man currently P2 in this qualifying session, is on 357 points, leads the way by 19 points to John Boy. John Boy looks like he's taken pole here for this qualifying session. Yes, he has, by over half a second. So, John Boy in imperious form in that qualifying session. 3/10 clear in the first sector alone, and the middle sector as well. They're even in the final sector, but John Boy absolutely killing it in the first 2 sectors. So he'll be looking to try and carve that gap down to Jay. Cobb sits 3rd in the standings. He's qualified P5 tonight. Flaky doing a fantastic job putting the BMW in 4th place behind Nick DeVille, who'll start in 3rd. But you've got Charlie Goff alongside Cobb on the 3rd row. Diabetic Lamb in the BMW this week in P7 ahead of Ava Alfonso P8. You got Ozzy Albi in 9th and Farmerson rounding out the pack in P10 for this one. So just to fill you in on the championship standings coming into this one, we've got John Boy who sits in 2nd place, but Jay leading the way on 357 points, 19 clear of tonight's pole sitter for the first race of the evening, John Boy, who sits on 338, so it's not much really separating them. Cobb still with an outside chance of being in that title race. He's currently 46 points even behind the championship leader Jay. So he needs probably Jay and John Boy to trip over each other and to have a really good round tonight. Cobb still, as we said, got a slim chance of keeping himself in this title battle, but it's looking like a 2-horse race between Jay and John Boy. You've also got Lightblade in 4th. He's not here tonight, so he's out of that. Flaky has done a great job over this season, consistency-wise. He's really been superb. He sits in 5th in the standings on 221 points, and that's no mean feat when you consider the car that he's driving. The Beamer is not the best by a long way. But yeah, he's done absolute bits. Cobb will be lining up just behind him on the 3rd row, but it looks like we're syncing up. We're getting ready to go here for the start of this race. Here we go, the lights coming on now. Who is it gonna be for this sprint race? With lights out and away we go. And it looks like John Boy has actually been jumped there by Jay. So Jay up into the lead. As in the background, Flaky making a flying start in the BMW. He's already up into 4th ahead of Diabetic Lamb. Ahead of Charlie Goff even. Cobb has dropped down to 7th place, and Diabetic Lamb's lost it, coming to the first corner. So has Ozzy Albi, so Diabetic Lamb and Ozzy Albi both having moments there. It's Jay leading ahead of John Boy, followed by Nick DeVille at the moment. So Jay's managed to get back ahead of John Boy after John Boy jumped him off for the line. Nick DeVille in 3rd place ahead of Flaky, followed by Charlie Goff. Cobb in 6th place has got back gained 1 position back. Farmerson there in 7th, ahead of Ava Alfonso, followed by Diabetic Lamb and Ozzy Albi, who both had those incidents coming through the first part of the track. But it's Jay currently leading ahead of John Boy. John Boy is going to look to the outside. Bit of a doorbank between the two of them as they came into Stowe corner. John Boy round the outside there, gets the move done. Nick DeVille is now trying to get involved in this one as well. The 2 championship contenders almost taking each other out there as they came into Stowe corner. John Boy leads coming down to Vale. Now Jay's looking to the inside, into the Vale chicane. Can he make the move? No, he's a little bit too far back. Nick DeVille a big lock up there as he came into the corner. Flaky there only in 4th place ahead of Charlie Goff, followed by Cobb. You've got Farmerson, Ava Alfonso, Diabetic Lamb and Ozzy Albi running a long way back there in P10. But the 2 championship contenders are going at it here at the end of the first lap. It's John Boy who has a slim lead as they come in towards Abbey for the 2nd time in this race, but Jay's holding it on the outside as they come through Village now. He's going to have the inside there for this part of the track, but as they come up towards Aintree, it will be John Boy who will be on the inside, but Jay's actually made that move around the outside. John Boy's now got Nick DeVille going around his outside as well, and Nick DeVille is going himself up to P2. So Nick DeVille there just getting in the way of the championship contenders here. It's Jay leading from Nick DeVille and John Boy at the moment. Flaky sticking to the back of these guys at the moment. It's a track that the BMW will be quick around. It's a very straight line speed orientated circuit, very much a power track. This is Silverstone International, so Flaky will have a good chance of keeping with these guys. Charlie Cobb currently competing in the top 6. The top 6 have broken away from everybody else right now. Avo Alfonso and Farmerson batting out of the 7th and 8th, and Diabetic Lamb and Aussie Albi rounding out the 10 car field right now. But 7 of you currently watching, smash the like button, show your appreciation for these drivers out here, as we got Nick Lavilla now has got John Boy looking down his inside into Vale, and Nick gets a tap in the rear there from Flaky, but just holds it. And Flaky there backed out of it as he saw what he'd done there, and Nick Lavilla was really squirreling around as they came through the corner, but he just holds on there as Charlie Goff has got Cobb now looking all over his rear in a battle for P5. Jay though still leads, has opened up nearly a second of a gap here over John Boy. Nick Lavilla there running in third ahead of Flaky, followed by Charlie Cobb, and Avo Alfonso, Farmerson, Diabetic Lamb and Aussie Albi are well off at the back of the pack right now in P7, 8, 9 and 10. They are nowhere near. The top 6 have broken away, but actually, to be fair, Jay seems to have started to pull out a bit of a gap here to the rest of them. John Boy is now over a second behind him. Nick's also dropped off of John Boy a little bit. They're starting to spread out ever so slightly. Flaky's still sticking to the back of Nick quite well at the moment. There's only 7/10 of a second between those two. But currently, WSRC Jay, the championship leader, has the lead in this race as well. John Boy really needs to finish in front of Jay to keep his championship on course, because these two are rarely out of the podium. So John Boy needs to make sure he can finish in front of Jay really in both races tonight, to keep Jay on his toes going into the final round next week, which will be at Brands Hatch Indy. But Jay's been saying in the build up to this race he wants to go into Brands Hatch next week with a big lead over John Boy, because he says that Brands Hatch Indy is not a track that he likes at all. So expect that Jay's going to be looking to try and put in a performance here, and right now he's doing that. He's got over a second of a gap over John Boy as we're currently watching the rest of the pack coming through Club Corner at the moment. You've got Farmerson and Diabetic Lamb batting it out over 8th place, and Aussie Albi is in the pits here, so he has got damage, and he looks like he is crabbing right now. Not the start to the race that Aussie Albi would have wanted at all. As Cobb's now trying to make a move here on Charlie. Charlie a little bit wide as he come up through the loop up towards Chapel Curve, and Cobb has got the move done up into P5, goes really wide there out onto the hanger straight, but it looks like he's pretty solid at the moment. But it's still Jay leading the race ahead of John Boy. These two 3/10 apart. John Boy's getting some decent closing speed as they come down towards Stoke Corner here for the 4th time. He's looking to the inside as Jay just sees him coming there, holds his line and holds his nerve. John Boy took a bit too much on the entry to the corner as he was swerving offline to try and distract Jay in the mirrors. In the end, it didn't really work out for him, and Jay's able to continue as if nothing really happened there. And John Boy a bit of a lock up as he came into Vale, as Flaky's still keeping Nick Lavilla on his toes, and these two have gapped Cobb and Charlie a little bit as they continue to battle it out over 5th and 6th places. Avo Alfonso still going there, P7. It's got Diabetic Lamb, Farmerson and Aussie Albi completing the pack at the moment, but 3/10 separating the two championship contenders right now as they are continuing to tussle it out here at Silverstone for round 5 of the season, the penultimate round, rounds 9 and 10 here, as we've got Lightblade in the comments saying, Lightblade in the house, sup ladies. Like, what? I don't know who you're talking about there, I'm not a lady. But we've got obviously Lightblade, regular racer in the Project Cars 2 series here at Motive on Monday and Thursday nights. He races with us in the Clio Cup on Mondays. He was a championship contender until this week, where it all kind of went a bit Pete Tong at the Red Bull Ring just 3 nights ago. But he does race with us on the touring cars most nights. Unfortunately tonight he's a little bit worse for wear, he's told me, in terms of he's had a bit too much of the old drink, so he's unfortunately not able to race with us tonight. But nonetheless, good to see Lightblade chiming in and supporting us as always. Big fan of Motive, as Lightblade has been here since the relatively early stages of the Motive being around. Motive's been around now for about 2.5 years. Before that, I was kind of like at Robbins Racing, so organised sim racing. Been doing it for about 3 years now, probably about 1,100 days altogether, 1,100 24-hour cycles. I think I've been in organised sim racing. Basically been my life for the last 1,100 24-hour cycles. But nonetheless, you got Jay has opened up a bit of a gap here. He's got a second and a half here over John Boy. Nick's now starting to close on John Boy a little bit. You got Flaky there running in P4 ahead of Cobb, followed by Charlie. Bit of a gap back to Avo Alfonso. Diabetic Lamb has fallen a bit off of Avo Alfonso here. In fact, no, he hasn't. He was actually battling with Farmerson. I do apologise. Farmerson's dropped off of Diabetic Lamb. Aussie Albi's still going, but with that damage, with those damage repairs early on, is a long way behind. Jay though starting to open up a bit of a gap here over John Boy, and we've lost the driver. Who is that? We've lost Diabetic Lamb. Diabetic Lamb is out of the race, so I don't know quite what's occurred there. But Diabetic Lamb, I don't know if he disconnected. Let's get the map up. Actually, we can see whether or not it was a disconnection. Yep, Diabetic Lamb's disconnected from the race, so that's a massive shame there and obviously he'll score no points in this one. So down to 9 drivers here tonight. We knew it was going to be a bit of a short turnout because of how boiling hot it is today. But obviously, with all of our championships running in sync, we can't really afford to miss a week. So we just got to get on with it, really. Nonetheless, the 2 contenders for this title still within a second of each other at the moment. Emma there in the comments saying, "Come on, Aussie." It's not been his night so far, Emma. I've got to say it's been a bit disappointing. A little bit disappointing. You know, my expectations of Aussie Albi are obviously quite high. You know, I always expect big things from him, and yeah, I'm a bit gutted, to be honest with you. Having said that, he's driving in a car which we know is a bit inferior compared to the rest of them. So I'll probably say next season will be a good chance for Aussie Albi to compete, because as we know, Aussie Albi is a big fan of rear-wheel drive cars, but not so much the front-wheel drive cars like the Megane. So we reckon that when we apply the 100-litre ballast rule for all drivers in the Renault Megane, that will actually mean that that will give guys in the BMW like Aussie Albi and Flaky, also Farmerson as well. Shout out repping the Merc here tonight, which is a bit of a ballsy one. But yeah, those guys will obviously have a bit more of a chance next season, and all their hard work, obviously Flaky and Aussie Albi, putting in the hours, putting in the mileage this season with the Beamer, could massively benefit them next season. Also Farmerson getting plenty of practice in the Merc as well, as Flaky getting a little bit out of shape there, but Cobb couldn't pounce on that in the way that I'm sure he would have wanted to. Gap at the front, still half a second between WSL CJ and John Boy. Lightway here saying, I was celebrating a new career opportunity this afternoon. I started a new job today and looks promising. What is it, Lightway? What are you doing? Tell us, spill the beans. What's your new venture? As we've got John Boy 3 tenths behind John Boy 3 tenths behind John Boy. 3 tenths behind WSL CJ at the moment as they're coming into the Vale chicane here for the 8th time in this race. There's a massive lock up there from John Boy. But Flaky and Cobb are still running about 5-6 seconds behind them at the moment in P5 and 6. Charlie's dropped off of them a bit. He's down in P6 and he's a couple of seconds behind them at this point. Avo Alfonso still going P7. Farmerson a long way behind in 8th place ahead of Aussie Albi, who's running in 9th place. John Boy was really wide there coming out of Abbey. Kept onto it. Nick Levitt is still clinging to the coattails of the front two at the moment, but it's hard work for him, as John Boy is now trying to put this pressure on Jay, as we're nearly half distance here in this sprint race so far. And WSL CJ, the championship leader, the man who came into this 19 points clear of John Boy, still has the advantage at the moment, but for how much longer is he going to be able to withstand this pressure? He seems like he's just got enough at the moment to withstand this pressure. He doesn't seem like he's coming under the cosh particularly at this point. He definitely has got the measure, as John Boy's looking to the inside in towards Stowe corner. Can't quite make it happen at the moment though, as Nick Lavilla, big slide there coming through Stowe corner, but gets it back on the track right now then. J-Lo leads by 4 tenths ahead of John Boy at this point, and Nick Lavilla still keeping tabs with these guys, as we've got Flaky now defending the inside here from Cobb. Cobb now looking to try and get it around the outside into Vale. They come in towards Club now, but Flaky just manages to fend him off, just keeps it around the outside there, and Flaky still maintains P4 at the moment ahead of Cobb, but these two continue to have a good old scrap here. As Lightweight saying, I've been offered an apprenticeship in scaffolding, a small growing local company, not my preferred trade as a carpenter, but a good opportunity nonetheless. That's great, mate. A job's a job, and obviously this could will definitely provide a bit of stability, and you know, good for you, mate, good for you. Great stuff. But John Boy is still right on the back of Jay right now, as Nick Levilla's, he's actually gained a bit on Nick Levilla. Nick Levilla, sorry, has gained a bit on those two over the last lap or so. He's got it down to 1.2. It was a second and a half before. So Nick Levilla's getting some work done here. Flaky's still got Cobb all over the back of him, but I think Cobb's struggling to find a place to overtake him at the moment. We know how difficult Flaky is to overtake. Jay can definitely testify to that one. But right now he seems to be the definitely seems to be the thorn in the side right now for Cobb, as John Boy's still looking around Jay, just trying to exploit some space right now, but he's not able to do it at this point. Lightbait there saying in the comments, it gets me off my arse, mate. That's it's always good to have something to keep you active. You know, sitting there, it doesn't do anybody good, least of all yourself, sitting around all day doing nothing. So, you know, you should avoid that at all costs. But I would not wish that on my worst enemy. But Right now, Jay still out in front. Has got 0.2 of a second over John Boy. At this point, you've got Nick there still running in P3 on the podium, and Nick's now within a second of these three, so he is really bringing himself into this fight. And in fact, John Boy had to take quite a tight line out of Chapel there. You can see now Nick is right there with them, and Nick might be able to use his slipstream. Jay's surely going to give the slipstream here to Nick and try and get him ahead of John Boy, because that will only gain Jay points in the championship. But John Boy covering him off. Looking to the inside here, John Boy into Stowe. Jay's got that covered at the moment, but Nick Lavilla is now very much in this battle for the win here in this sprint race. Nick is driving an absolute cracker here at Silverstone National, and it's great to see Nick Lavilla in the battle for the win, because I know Nick is a bloody quick driver on his day, I tell you. He is a semi-pro racing driver as well, so you know he's got the potential in sim racing, but I think he has his nights and he has his off nights, and obviously tonight is one of his nights. But John Boy really wide coming out of Abbey. Nick did the same thing though. That's going to give Jay just a bit of comfort there. Not comfort, but you know, a little bit of a moment to breathe a sigh of relief. Lightbait in the comments is getting behind Nick, and obviously we haven't seen Nick. We haven't seen the best of Nick this season. Can we maybe see him sort of come to life here at Silverstone International? It's clearly a track that he enjoys. And you've got these two, the championship contenders, in front of him squabbling like no tomorrow. So, you know, maybe Nick could be the one to sort of like spoil their party potentially. John Boy's having a little feint to the inside there on Jay, nothing doing. Oh, Nick there all over the grass. Oh my God. Nick the Villa there had to really save that one, as he was all sorts of sideways there coming through Stowe. John Boy's still on the back of Jay. Jay taking a defensive line coming into Stowe Vale. But Nick the Villa's now dropped about a couple of seconds off of the front two here. So with that little slide coming through Stowe corner, it's just brought him out of that fight ever so slightly. Flakey's still running in fourth ahead of Cobb at this point, but Cobb seems to have just, I mean, he's not fallen off of him, but he doesn't seem to be as on his bumper as he was before. Also, Charlie Goff is now starting to reel them back in again. Charlie did initially drop off with him, but he seems to have gained a bit. Maybe that's because they just had a scruffy lap there, because Flakey and Cobb 111s that last lap. Maybe they had a collision and had to wait for each other, I don't know. That's me theorising. I actually have no idea whatsoever, but I'm just trying to think as to why they would have lost 2 seconds on everybody else. But nonetheless, Jay, John Boy currently still going at it, and Nick Levitta's still there. He's still just under 2 seconds off of the lead, but did he just bin his chances of getting a win here in this sprint race with that little mistake coming through this corner Stowe on the last lap? At the moment, the top two are still joined at the hip, and that might present Nick with an opportunity to come back at them if they trip over each other. But for the time being, Jay and John Boy still keeping it tidy. But is John Boy just waiting until the last lap? Maybe he's just waiting for his opportunity. He has gone very deep there coming through Vale. He's going to get a, I would have thought he would have got a compromised exit coming out of club, but he seems to have stuck to the back of Jay as they're coming out over the start-finish line. But these two so evenly matched at this point. As we said before, they are the championship contenders. They are currently running 1 and 2 here in this race. Nick really wide there coming through Vale into Village, which would have just lost him a few extra tenths there, and he seems to be falling off at the back of them at the moment. Cobb has got Charlie reeling him in, but he's still on the back of Flakey here. Charlie Goff is now looking to try to get involved. Flakey defending to the inside. Into Village they come. Cobb looking to the outside. Oh, Charlie's got a big slide. Charlie is round and he's off. He's off onto the runoff there. Does a brilliant recovery as he almost did a 360 and then kept it going again. Basically kept it as one fluid movement there. That was fantastic there from Charlie. But he has now lost about 4 seconds to Flakey and Cobb. And Flakey is weaving all over the place coming down the Kanga straight. He's trying to break that toe here on Cobb. Cobb isn't really able to make anything happen because the straight line speed of the McGann certainly not on the level of the Beamer. That's the one thing that the Beamer's certainly got over the McGann around this track. I tell you what, if Flakey can get himself towards the front in the feature race, he'll be difficult to pass if he's leading. As right now he's squeezing Cobb to the outside coming into Vale. Cobb has no way around him, can't find a way through, and Flakey maintaining position for the time being. Jay still out the front, has got John Boy hassling him though as they're coming through Village for the 15th time in this race. We're coming towards the closing stages of this sprint race. Jay's been hanging on to it, he's been doing what he has to do out the front. John Boy's been throwing the kitchen sink at him, but just can't seem to find a way through at this point. Nick DeVille is still running in third place. He's actually closed in on them a little bit whilst they've been battling it out, as the leaders have got a lap car in front of them. That is Aussie Albie there just in the foreground. Farmerson isn't too far ahead of Aussie Albie as well, so they could have to lap not just Aussie Albie but potentially Farmerson as well. The laps are winding down. We're probably going to have 3 more laps after this one. Oh, it's Jay. Massive mistake there coming through Stowe. That's going to get John Boy right onto the back of him. John Boy now looking to the inside in towards Vale. He's not quite close enough. Jay goes to defend the inside line. Now John Boy's going to go for the cutback. Can he get the run coming through Club? As Jay all over the place there. Got a horrible run coming through Cobb. You can see how close John Boy is as they're coming out onto the start-finish straight. Nick is right there, only 1.2 behind the leaders. But John Boy's got the run on Jay. He's not close enough coming into Abbey, but he's in that range now where he can pressurise Jay into a mistake, and Jay is going to really be feeling it at the moment. It's going to be squeaky bum time for Jay, and Nick's lost it in the background. Nick has binned it coming through Village, and he gets sideways. Oh, and he's lost it again on the grass, and he's round, and he can't get hold of it. Nick the Miller is out of the battle for the lead. What a shame there for him, as he could have maybe capitalised on the top 2, tripping over each other, but Nick the Miller is now out of that battle. John Boy, though, is right on the back of Jay as they're coming down the hanger straight. As you can see, Aussie Albie there in the foreground coming into Stowe Corner, but these two coming up towards the corner now, and John Boy's all over the back of Jay as Jay defends to the middle lane coming into Stowe Corner. John Boy's going to try around the outside. Surely Jay's going to squeeze him out there. I think Jay's going to judge that one pretty nicely there. Yes, he does. He's now going to defend the inside coming down towards Vale. John Boy looking to the outside. Jada switches back and then changes his line about 3 times there coming into the corner. He's moving around in the braking zone. Jay, you're not really supposed to do that, mate. But John Boy there can't seem to find a way through at the moment, and he is hassling the back of Jay. He's doing everything he possibly can to get through, but he can't find the gap at the moment. He just can't find an opening. Cobb is still on the back of Charlie, but we're going to stick with the battle for the lead, because these are the 2 championship contenders. He gets a great show as John Boy all over the place on the exit of Abbey. We've got a little bit on the grass. Jay's now going to negotiate some traffic in the shape of Aussie Albie, and Farmerson is about 3 seconds up the road, so I think they will just about get to Farmerson before the end. Aussie Albie gets well out of the way, thinks I'm not having any of that, not getting involved in any of that, as we see Aussie there just losing it a bit coming out of Chapel out onto the hanger straight, but John Boy's lost a few precious tenths of a second here to Jay. Whilst they were lapping Aussie Albie, the gap is now nearly a second between them. Lightbait there saying, I reckon I could be in the 105s easy. Yeah, maybe if you cut Vale you might be able to, but I don't think you'll be able to do it otherwise. John Boy though is on the back of Jay as they're coming up towards Vale, and now actually John Boy has gained about 3 tenths on him. The gap now down to 4 tenths of a second as they come onto the brakes here. The big lock up there from John Boy, but that's just allowed Jay to pull away a little bit as they're coming up through Club now. And Jay starts the last lap here with a 7/10 of a second gap. He's just got to keep it calm, not make any mistakes, and bring this one home. They have got Farmerson there just up ahead of them, but I don't think they're going to reach him in time. Unless Farmerson makes a mistake, they should just about be safe from having to lap Farmerson before the end. Actually, maybe not, you know. They have closed a bit coming through this part of the track. As we come through Village for the final time, up through the loop and up towards Chapel Curve. It's been WSRCJ leading this one since the beginning. John Boy did actually jump him off of the... Jay, sorry, got the jump off him off of the line and has ran with it since then. But we see Farmerson there moving well out of the way. I think he's going to let them through as they come down the hanger straight. Yes, he is. Farmerson is being very sportsmanlike there. Fair play to him as we now come into Stowe Corner. It's Jay from John Boy. John Boy looking to the inside. Oh, he's close. He's close. He's going for it. I think Jay's just about going to do it though as they come up towards Vale. It's going to be WSRCJ around a track which he knows he's good at. He's obviously got Brands Hatch in next week, which he's not very confident around, so he wants to maximise his points here to give himself the best chance going into next week. But WSRCJ is going to extend his championship gap here at Silverstone International to 24 points going into the feature race here tonight. WSRCJ, your winner ahead of John Boy, taking P2. Nick the Villa's going to come around to complete the podium after that mistake coming through Village with a few laps left to go. Unfortunately for him, binned his chances of taking the win. But nonetheless, a very creditable third place here. Cobb has got ahead of Fakey in the closing laps, missed that one, but Cobb is going to come home ahead of Charlie. So Cobb and Charlie both getting ahead of Flaky, and Flaky dropping down to P6 there. So unfortunate there for him, but Avo Alfonso is going to come round to finish this one in P7. Farmerson has already finished in 8th place. He was a lap down. Aussie Albie likewise. So the last driver to finish the race on the lead lap will be Avo Alfonso. And that is that then for the sprint race. Lightblade, we believe the championship is 24 points, the gap between Jay and John Boy now. So Jay in the box seat, but obviously we know that we go to Brands Hatch Indy next week, where Jay is self-proclaimed not very good around there. So, I mean, we'll have to see how that one pans out. But nonetheless, Jay taking a win here for the sprint race. John Boy second, Nick Levilla third. The gap that Jay's got now is relatively comfortable, But not John Boy could definitely turn it around in this feature race before we go into the final round next week at Brands Hatch. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5 minutes time. We'll be posting the link on the Discord server for the feature race. And this is Race On here for the title.